Hey everyone, welcome to the Automation Channel's tutorial on Studio 5000 LogixEmulate. Pretty excited to do this one. This is a very helpful utility tool that Rockwell offers to allow you to play with a lot of programming, etc. We're setting this one up geared towards classes that anybody might be taking, or maybe their employer or whatever allows them time to train. And this is a pretty cheap way to do it, other than buying the license, but you don't have to go buy a full-fledged rack and set it up like a lot of places do. But enough of that. I'll cut to the chase. So I'm on a Windows 10 machine, Windows 10 version 1909, and I'm going to be using version 32 of LogixDesigner. So that's LogixDesigner 32. And first thing, we're going to be using two software sets, obviously. Studio 5000 LogixEmulate, and then we'll be using LogixDesigner 5000, obviously for our design environment for our logic. But pretty easy. Side note though, before we start, you do need administrative rights to use LogixEmulate. So if you do not have them, you gotta get with your IT department or whatever on your enterprise or corporate machine so you can have those rights available. If you don't, well, you don't have to worry about it. So here we go. So here's our chassis, and you can move these around, but I guess for your own organizational purposes, we'll just leave them there. It doesn't really matter. So now we can proceed. We create, and this is our controller. We'll add it. Okay. And then we'll add our I/O point right there. And let's call it Sim 03. And I'm just going to pick 03 because it's in slot 3. I kind of like to designate on my cards similar to that, and then reference it in my controller organizer when we set it up in LogixDesigner. So Sim 03, finish. So after that, our chassis set up. Obviously, we're not using any of these cards, and we can actually add other I/O and controllers, and we will in the following videos to set this up, so we can demonstrate, produce, and consume tags. The other thing we will have to do is we'll create a new project, Logix, and we'll name this, let's see, Emulator. Emulate training. What do you think about that? I think that'll work just fine. And then next, version 32, we'll do a 7-slot chassis. We shouldn't exceed that. If we do, we can always change that later in the project. Processors in slot 2. There we go. And finish. Now wait for Studio to boot up. And then once it boots up, in the controller organizer tab, we're going to add our modules. We don't add links. Links is a separate driver. FactoryTalk Links is for when we are going to use that in FactoryTalk View Studio, which will be another following video. And then obviously the controller and input-output card. As you guys know, if you've worked with the software, it takes a while to boot up. So we'll just kind of hang out and let that boot up. All right. So here's our controller organizer. It's generally right over here on our left in version 32, as you can see, of LogixDesigner. So we'll add our backplane, new modules. Okay, it's already got our controller, so we just have to add our input-output module. So 1789, you've seen that -sim. There's not an actual card in here for it, for our module type. So you use this module, which is a generic module, for setting up our input-output card. And some of you may have used this for third-party drives or other devices like that, but we're just going to use this for a sim module. And we'll name it the same thing we have in the chassis. Sim03. Keeps it easy. We're in slot 3. And from the manual is where I get these parameters at. So it's 1, 2, I'll put in 2, 1, 16, and 0. So that's how that's set up. And I went off of the, if you looked in the manual, this is page 27 in the manual, and I used the read-write. And there's also a read-only, which we set this up a little bit different. You don't write to the inputs. So, alrighty. Click OK, and we are set. And super easy now. Who active? There's our controller. Download. Alright, no warnings, no errors. There we go. Go into run mode. I/O is good. Checking on the control organizer. Nope, nothing wrong. So there we go. That easy. So I guess to reiterate, we add our chassis. As you can see, we add removed. We add it in the control organizer right here, and we go online. Simple as that. Next video we'll go over some adding some logic in here. Maybe we'll do that online. I haven't decided. Alright guys, thanks.